Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a story that is just absolutely fascinating. We're unpacking a narrative that beautifully bridges the gap between ancient history, deep-rooted faith, and modern science. It's all about a remote village facing a totally devastating drought and a 1,200-year-old secret buried deep, deep underground. Let's jump right in and break down exactly how this centuries-old mystery unfolds. Now, I want you to ask yourself a question. Can a prayer take 12 centuries to be answered? I know it sounds like a paradox, right? Usually, when we ask the divine for something, we kind of expect an immediate result, or, at least something in our own lifetime. But this story, it completely challenges our perception of time, action, and legacy. Keep this question in the back of your mind as we go, because the answer is going to completely reframe how we look at history and modern discovery. Section 1, The Dry Well and Villagers' Anger, a Clash of Perspectives. So, our story begins with a guy named Hamid. He's a hydrogeology PhD who's just returned to his drought-stricken village. And things are bad. The historical well is bone dry, and as you can imagine, tensions are incredibly high. On one side, we have the village elder, the Mufti. He decrees that the drought is basically a divine punishment for societal sin, and he's demanding spiritual repentance. But then there's Hamid. He brings out his seismic devices. To him, this isn't some supernatural punishment. It's just a harsh geological reality. Underground water tables are dropping. Naturally, the villagers mock Hamid. They actually claim his science is the very thing that cursed them. But he tunes out the noise and stays laser-focused on his data. Data which is hinting at an ancient tunnel roughly 200 feet below the surface. Moving on to Section 2, Mystery of the Lost Date Tree, a Clue from the Past. Well, every good investigation needs a breakthrough, right? And Hamid gets his from a pretty unexpected source, his grandmother. She casually mentions an ancient date tree that used to sit right by the well. The kicker? It never withered during past droughts. For Hamid, that's a massive clue. It means those roots were tapping into a deep, hidden water source. So he takes this historical word-of-mouth clue and pairs it with modern tech. He breaks out ground-penetrating radar, or GPR. It's this fascinating technology that shoots electromagnetic pulses right into the earth to map hidden structures. He scans the exact spot where that tree is to stand, and while the village is literally laughing at him, the radar ping comes back. Boom. It reveals a massive, hollow cavern 150 feet below the surface. At this point, Hamid knows he just has to dig. All right, Section 3, The 1,200-Year-Old Stone, Unearthing the Truth. Picture this for a second. It's the dead of night. Hamid is completely isolated, utterly exhausted, and he's digging. He gets down to about 140 feet, and suddenly his spade strikes something hard. Clink. But it doesn't sound like natural rock. He pulls out his flashlight, shines it down into the dirt, and realizes he has just hit a perfectly carved stone slab. And here's the absolute craziest part. That artifact is an astonishing 1,200 years old. Over a millennium of history was sitting right there, buried directly beneath a village that genuinely thought their lifeline was gone forever. Carved right into that stone is this ancient Kufic Arabic script. Just beneath some verses from the Quran is a highly personal message from a traveler named Abdullah ibn Safwan. It's dated in the year 202 of the Hijri calendar. In it, he details the exact coordinates of a hidden underground tunnel flowing with water. And then he leaves this beautiful prayer. May Allah grant water to whoever discovers this. Think about that. He sealed the water 1,200 years ago simply because it wasn't needed at the time. He intentionally left a geographical roadmap and a prayer for a future generation that he knew would desperately need it. Talk about a time capsule. This brings us to Section 4, Union of Science and Deen, The Village Unites. So the very next morning, Hamid takes this ancient stone straight to the Mufti. As the elder reads that 1,200-year-old inscription, he literally breaks down in tears. He suddenly realizes that Hamid isn't working against their faith at all. Actually, scratch that. Hamid is using science as the exact instrument needed to fulfill an ancient believer's prayer. With the Mufti's blessing, all the mockery stops instantly. The entire village grabs their shovels, they follow the stone's exact coordinates, 300 cubits east, and they dig. Finally, they hit the tunnel wall. They break through, and whoosh, a massive fountain of rushing water bursts forth. Water that had literally been waiting in the dark for 12 centuries. But you know what? The discoveries don't even end there. Later that night, a second, much smaller stone washes out from that rushing water. The inscription on this one is short, but profoundly moving. It reads, "O Allah, make this water a portion of the water of Jannah," meaning paradise. Hamid reads it aloud to the village, and it's just this incredibly beautiful moment that directly bridges Abdullah's ancient, hopeful prayer with Hamid's modern scientific reality. Finally, Section 5, Relationship of Knowledge and Prayer, Rethinking Faith. This whole story completely dismantles the idea that a prayer is just some simple transaction where you ask today and receive today. Instead, it introduces this amazing harmony between two core concepts. First, we have asbab, which is the practical means and scientific effort. That's Hamid's radar and all the physical digging. The second is tawakkul, the absolute spiritual trust and reliance on a higher power, which is perfectly represented by Abdullah's 1,200-year-old carved stone. What this shows us is that a true resolution actually requires both of these working together. The intellectual twist here is what I find most profound. It shows that prayers don't just expire. They can endure across centuries, quite literally preserved in the earth and in history. But here's the crucial takeaway. Abdullah's prayer alone didn't bring the water up to the surface today. No, it required Hamid's scientific effort to unlock it. And conversely, Hamid's science desperately needed Abdullah's historical roadmap to know exactly where to look. One simply couldn't succeed without the other. They are two halves of a giant puzzle. After all this, the villages forever changed. They even renamed themselves in honor of Abdullah ibn Saflan. They realized that their previous definition of faith had just been too narrow. Faith isn't just about rituals. It's about actively exploring the world around us. During the Friday sermon, Hamid beautifully quotes, "And on the earth are signs for the certain in faith." Exploring the earth through geology and science isn't opposing belief. It is, in itself, a profound act of unearthing hidden divine signs. Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder. In the face of a real crisis, does true belief mean keeping our eyes closed and just passively waiting for a miracle to happen? Or does it mean keeping our eyes wide open, using our minds, our modern technology, and our science to actively uncover the solutions that have been waiting for us all along? This story is a powerful testament to the absolute harmony of knowledge and trust. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep your eyes open and keep seeking out the signs around you.